If you want to max out your special stats in Fallout 4 right at the start of the game by getting 21 strength, 22 perception, and all of these ridiculous stats, and this is a permanent increase, I'm going to show you how to do it in this video. And this cheat still works after the next gen update on both Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. To be honest guys, it's not been patched in over 8 years, so it's one of those core mechanics that is just never going to get solved by Bethesda. Now normally you'd only be able to raise your special stats up to a maximum limit of 10. However, in the second part of this video, I'm going to show you how to go all the way beyond that limit to create the most powerful character in Fallout 4. It's up to you how far you want to take this and what you consider to be fun or not. But it is possible to mess this up if you're following the video, so please do pay close attention to what I'm saying. I'll try and be as quick as possible, because you can do this right at the start of the game, right after you leave Vault 111. You're going to head down the hill to the starting area of Sanctuary where you used to live. And while it's not necessary, it does really help if you hit the like button on this video, because it really does support my channel and let other people know about the video if you find it helpful. So we're going to head back to our house, or what's left of it, and inside you're going to find the special book. Now don't worry if you've already picked this book up on an old character. As long as you still have the book sitting around in some storage or even your inventory, you can still follow this guide and use this method. So starting out with step 1, I would suggest that you just drop everything in your inventory. You can transfer everything into the armor workbench storage across the road, or you can just drop it all, so you're not even wearing anything. The only thing you should be holding is any weapon. It doesn't matter if it's a melee weapon or anything. I'm just using the 10mm pistol that we got from the vault at the start of the game. We obviously dropped the ammunition for it as well. Now you're also going to want to make sure that you've deposited enough materials in the weapon workbench to apply a modification to the weapon that you happen to be using. Doesn't matter which modification you're going to apply to the weapon, you'll just need enough materials to apply one. I'll explain why later. Next we have step 2, and that's just to save the game. For step 3, we need to pick up the special book from the floor, and you'll get a list of attributes that you can increase up to the cap of 10. So my character already has some of his special attributes at 10, therefore he can't increase those stats further. So choose whatever attribute you'd like. It really doesn't matter at this point, because we'll be maxing them all shortly. Now you've picked up the book, open your inventory, and you can actually see the name of the book is You Are Special. If you're playing in another language, it might have a different name, so just make a mental note of the first letter that the book begins with. In our case, it's a Y. Step 4, we're going to leave our house, we're going to go across the road, and here we'll find the weapons workbench, which is already set up here. If we select the craft option, you'll now see that whatever weapon you had in your inventory appears in this menu. And for us, it's the 10mm pistol. And again, it doesn't matter what weapon you're using. You're going to hover over it and press the rename button at the bottom. It's obviously different on Xbox, PC, and PlayStation, but it will tell you what button to press next to it. So now we need to rename our weapon with the first letter of the book name. So in English, that's going to be a Y. And whatever language you're playing in, make sure that you use a lowercase letter. And now we have step 5. Exit out and make sure that you save the game again. For step 6, we're going to reopen up the weapons workbench, hover over our newly named weapon, and now we need to press both the scrap and modify button at the exact same time, and then let go of them at the same time. But by doing this successfully, you'll get these messages pop up on the screen. Firstly, you can see the scrap item option is here, and then behind that you can see that we have the option to modify the weapon and add different weapon mods. So we get both of these things at the same time. So now we need to select the scrap option, which will scrap the weapon, but it's going to replace it with the You Are Special book that we picked up earlier. And this is why you change the name of the item, because the game replaces the weapon that you named with the most similar sounding object in your inventory, which again is why we dropped everything else from our inventory. The only thing there which is similar is the You Are Special book. If you do this later on and you have a quest item, you may need to try different letters to actually get the correct result. But if you've started a new game and copied what I'm doing, it will work every single time. So once you're here, don't press any buttons yet. What you're going to do is using the D-pad on your controller. This is the D-pad just here on your controller. If you're on a keyboard, it's just the arrow keys. And you're going to press right to navigate to the weapon mod option. Then you can press the A button to apply a modification to whatever weapon you happen to be using. This is obviously why we transferred the materials that we needed to mod the weapon beforehand. Once you've applied the mod to the weapon, all the other options will just disappear, and you'll just see the UR special book. Now you can exit out from the workbench, and we can begin step 7, and this is where the real fun begins. We're going to open up our inventory, and then we're going to go to the special book, and we're just going to drop it on the floor. Now, if you go into settlement mode by either interacting with the workbench or holding down select, you will now be able to select the special book, and you'll have an option to scrap it. This obviously wasn't an option before, and doing this process has allowed us to make the game treat the item differently. So what we can do now is actually duplicate the item. So listen very carefully, because we're going to press the scrap button, but then immediately following that, we're going to press the store button, one after another. Now the best method is to press and hold the scrap button, then as you let go, immediately press the store button, and make sure you carry on holding down the store button. If done successfully, it's going to show an option to scrap the book, but also store it at the same time. Make sure that you're still holding down the store button though, and don't let go, otherwise that other option will just disappear. So while still holding down the store button, you're going to say yes, you want to scrap it, and then you're going to say yes again, you want to store it. This will scrap and store the book at the same time. Now if we go to our workshop and we press transfer, we can find the special book stored inside here, and we can transfer it back into our own inventory, and then we can just come back, open up our inventory and drop it on the floor. But now the game thinks this is a new special book. So when you try and interact with it, it will prompt us to increase our attribute by another point. So now, if we do step 7 repeatedly, we can get unlimited special points until all of our stats are 10 out of 10. So just drop the book again, go to settlement mode, press scrap, and then immediately hold the store button until both menu options come up. And again, sometimes it can take a couple of tries to get it bang on. Then you're just going to say yes to scrapping it and yes to storing it. And then you're going to go and pick up your special book from the workshop again, drop it on the floor, get another stat increase, and just carry on doing step 7 over and over again. And if you do this repeatedly, you'll eventually reach 10 in all of your special stats. However, once you reach 10 in a special stat, like you guys can see, I have 10 intelligence, agility, and luck. And you can see now when I click on the special book, those stats are no longer available as an option to level up to level 11, because 10 is the maximum limit. But don't worry, we can actually bamboozle Fallout 4 again to get around this. So welcome to step 8, and amazing if you got this far in the video. Hopefully it's been clear and concise so far. In this second part of the video, I'm now going to show you how we can increase our stats past the cap of 10. So what we're going to do is save the game, then we're going to go into survival mode. This can be found on the difficulty setting in the main menu. After you're in survival mode, you're just going to sit in any chair and you're going to wait for 24 hours repeatedly. You see, in survival mode, you have hunger and thirst. If you don't eat, drink, or sleep, you'll get a temporary negative debuff to your special stats. And if we look at this table, you can see that after waiting 6 in-game days, we're going to have all the negative stats applied to our character. So keep waiting 24 hours 6 times and then check your stat screen. Press the button to show effects that your character currently has, and you can see mine is incapacitated on sleep, severely dehydrated, and starving. These are the lowest stats you can get. If you haven't reached this point yet, just carry on waiting in a chair. Now if I go to my special stats screen, you can see we only have 4 strength, 3 perception, 1 endurance, 5 charisma, 1 intelligence, 6 agility, and 1 luck. Our stats have gone from 10 all the way down to these figures. And now what we can do is use our special book again, and all of these stats that are temporarily reduced can be increased again back to 10. So currently you can see our agility is at 6. If we boost this to 10 again, and then either turn off survival mode or eat, drink, and sleep, it's then going to shoot up to 14 agility. So now we're just going to go through and repeat step 7 with the special book duplication glitch, and do this with every stat until you get back up to having 10 on all of your stats. But I would, however, recommend that you have some food, water, and some healing items with you before attempting this in survival mode, because when you're at max dehydration and starvation, you'll actually start to take small amounts of damage until you die. So make sure that you have a surplus of food and water before you try this on survival difficulty. But as I said, we can go even higher than this if we also use chems. Ideally, you want to collect all the chems before you attempt this, but once you're ready, make sure you're starving and dehydrated and sleep deprived again, so you reduce all your special stats back down to 10 or lower if you're doing this at the same time. And then you're going to want to get addicted to every single chem in the game. There's basically a list of chems that you can get addicted to, and as you can see, they all provide negative status effects. Now, once the game tells you got addicted, you can then check your current status effects, and you can see that I am now addicted to everything. You will need to wait a few in-game hours for the chem's positive effect to wear off, so you only have the negative effects remaining. If you do this and get addicted to everything at once, all of the debuffs actually stack, giving you -4 charisma, -7 agility, -5 strength, -4 perception, -2 luck, and so on. Then you can boost all of your stats back up to 10 using the special book method in step 7. Now, I actually did this all at once along with starvation in survival mode, and while the game only shows that your special stats go as low as 1, they actually do go even lower. So you have to add back a few points of intelligence before you get into those positive numbers and it starts going up again. So don't worry if you think the glitch isn't working suddenly, it's just because you've reduced your stats to such a low level. But the thing is that you can take this method even further. You can use the Dirty Wasteland beverage, for example, for another -2 intelligence, or the Vim blend for -2 charisma. But I want to end this video at some point, and I think you guys get the idea of how this works. So once you've boosted all your special stats back to 10, you can then use Addictol, and this is going to cure all of your addictions instantly. And as you can see, we now have boosted our special stats massively. Then what we can do is we can eat, drink, and go to sleep on survival mode, so we're no longer starving, dehydrated, or sleep deprived. Or alternatively, you can just turn off survival mode if you don't want to play it. This will then give you your final result. Your stats will now be like this permanently going forward. And we're still at level 1. In fact, if you look at the perks menu, you can see all of your stats say that they're maxed out at level 10. You can only see your special stats if you actually go into your Pip-Boy and see they're actually much higher than that. And by the way, you can still boost your stats even higher by taking chems like whiskey and other in-game items. But to be honest, you're already really powerful, and I doubt anyone's even got this far in the video. Though if you did, please do write green eggs and hams in the comments section. Only I will know what you're on about, but I appreciate you getting this far. Next, I'd actually recommend going around and collecting all of the bobbleheads to raise your special stats even higher. You can check out this video guide over here on where you can find every single one in the game.